New York, my home county, executive vice president of the Trump Organization and son of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump Jr. Good evening, Donald. Thank you so much for being with us. I can't believe that you aren't exhausted. Do you have the same energy your dad has?
I'm lucky that I do have a lot of his same energy, and this is my one day off the trail because my little guy had his birthday yesterday, and so I was able to get a little bit of a day off, but we'll be back on it hard tomorrow.
I know you will. And, I follow you. I have to tell you, I follow you on Instagram and everything else, and you spend a lot of time in upstate New York, which is where I'm from, and you go to these demolition derbies. Is that what you do? Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, yeah, I spend a lot of time up in the Catskills. I have a cabin up there, and, we like to get away from it on the weekends. So I get my kids out of the city, get them into the woods, get them on ATVs, get them muddy and dirty, and I think I'll probably be doing them a favor for life if I do that.
Well, there's no question. I see them in the woods. I see the whole family, beautiful family, but I digress. Contract with America. Your dad in historic Gettysburg today, contract saying what he's going to do in the first 100 days. Tell us.
Well, listen, I think it was an amazing idea. I mean, I think it's something very different. I think if there's one thing that this election has shown us is that people are sick of the same old in D.C. They're sick of the promises that no one ever delivers. They're sick of the blatant lies, frankly, that we're reading about certainly a lot more these days. And so I think it's something that cleans up the mess. Our founding fathers were business people. They didn't envision a lifetime in government where people just get stagnant. They get rich off of the backs of working Americans like we've seen in D.C. And so this is a system which will eliminate so much of that. I mean, I especially love the parts about imposing congressional term limits so people don't just sit in a seat. They wait there for 40 years. All their friends get rich. They give them all the lobbying jobs. They make sure that their contracts and their buddies are taken care of. Those same people then lobby for other countries abroad at the expense of America, as always. And so, eliminating, putting on term limits, eliminating lobbyists' ability to do that for other countries once they've served at high levels in government. I think these are the kind of things that the American people want to see. I don't think anyone, and frankly, I think this is a partisan problem. I don't think anyone on either side of the aisle is thrilled with where Washington has taken us, where they've put us in terms of debt, in terms of everything. So I think eliminating this, creating a way for there to be some fresh blood coming into D.C. across the aisle, I think will do a lot of good for the country and will allow government to adapt and evolve much more efficiently.
It's amazing, Donald. When people talk about term limits, it's something that I think most Americans are in favor of, but no one has really, I don't think, spent a lot of time seriously talking about it. And what we see in Congress are people going in, who are kind of normal and have average salaries, and they come out multi-millionaires. And the American public is just
you saw a bunch of that this week.
Didn't we?
More and more of that stuff is coming out. More and more of that stuff is coming out. People have realized, what are the little trades that these guys are making? How is it they possibly could do this? I mean, the stuff that Congress exempts themselves from that the rest of the American public is subject to, that's not what this country is about. And I think everyone is in favor of it. And that you do see this where people maybe even go in with the best intentions. They get caught up in D.C. They get caught up in the, free rides, and they get caught up being bribed by all the rich guys and all the special interests. And all of a sudden, they grab that little bit of power and they hold onto it and they milk it. And you know what? The people that suffer are the hardworking men and women of this country. The people who built this great nation, they're the people that suffer while everyone around D.C. has gotten rich. And we've seen it, and the people are sick of it. And I think that's a partisan problem. I don't think anyone on either side of the aisle thinks that their politicians in D.C. are doing great things for them and they have their best interests at heart. It's just not the case. We've seen it too many times. It's time to, as my father said, drain the swamp that is D.C., because it's just not what our founding fathers envisioned. They envisioned people going in. George Washington, they would have given him the lifetime presidency. He didn't want it. He renounced it. He said, that's not what this is about.
But
get people in, get them out, let them do some service, and then they go back into the real world. Our politicians aren't capable of that.
You know what? And something that I did, after 3 terms as DA, I said, I've done it. That's it. I'm going to move on because, as we all know, power corrupts. All right. We don't have a lot of time. Dad's got to turn around those numbers quickly. How's he going to do it?
Well, listen, I think he's going to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, you saw today the contract with America. I think that's a really important aspect of it. I think there's so much more in that, whether you're talking about healthcare, whether you're talking about education, all of the things that he's going to institute in the first 100 days about bringing the Constitution, putting that back into effect in America. And I think honestly, Jeanine, I've been around the country so much as of late, all over the place for the last few months, and there's so many people that tell me, and they're not the usual demographics that the media wants you to believe are the only people that are voting for Trump. It's everyone. It's women, young and old, Hispanic, African Americans. So many people come up and just say, keep it up, keep doing what you guys are doing, keep fighting to break up this system. You hear it once or twice, you say, then I have the people that are 25, 35, 45, 55, up to 83 that come up to me and tell me every day, I've never registered to vote, and I did it last week for the first time in my life so that I could vote for your father. There's a real undercurrent here that's not getting picked up in polling. These aren't people that are going to tell pollsters anything. I think they're going to show up, and I think you're going to see a real surprise on Election Day, and I think you're going to see a lot of that in early voting as well.
All right, Donald Trump Jr., thanks so much for taking time out of your family time.